We're going to go ahead and get started. Good morning, everyone, if I haven't said good morning to you yet. Uh, we'll start reclined, so you can just lay back and place your feet wide on the mat. Your knees can fall together here, so you're kind of making a tent with your legs. Your low back can rest on the mat. And if you need, you could add the blanket behind your head to act like a pillow. Yeah, just make yourself comfortable here. So whatever that means, if you end up wanting to take a different variation with your legs, you can. Take a moment to turn your attention towards what you're feeling this morning. Notice if you have any tension that you're holding on in your body. Maybe you can try to find a sense of ease in those areas by focusing, whether it's your left pinky finger, relaxing all the way down your arm. Maybe it's your right pinky toe. Wherever you're feeling just a little bit of tension, can you focus on those small sensations? Maybe they're a bit bigger, but focus so that maybe you find a sense of ease. Turn your attention to your natural flow of your breath. Can you not change anything with your breath, but just notice? And now we'll start to move into our breath a little bit more. So with your next exhale, feel your back body settle firmer onto your mat. And your inhale, expand your back body, your front body. Exhale, maybe you sigh it out this time. We're going to focus on using our diaphragmatic breath. So with your inhale, the space below your ribs drops out and down towards your low belly. With your exhale, your low belly hugs gently in to allow that space just beneath your ribs to pull in and up. So in towards your heart space, up towards your neck. And inhale, expand. So imagine your rib cage, that space just below it, your diaphragm, dropping in or out and down. And your exhale, hugging in and up. Using your diaphragm, maybe you sense this movement in your low belly. Lifting with your inhale. And your low belly softening with your exhale. Okay, and we'll start to add some pelvic tilts with this movement. So with your next inhale, allow your low belly to reach towards your top of your thighs. Find an arch in your low back. And then exhale, low back seals to the mat and your low belly can hug towards heart space. And then inhale, a tilt, lifting low back from the mat. And then exhale, sealing low back to the mat. If it feels nice here, you could walk your feet to be hips distance apart, knees pointed up towards the ceiling to find a little bit more movement with your breath in your pelvis. Notice if there's anywhere in your breath that's holding on to tension or finding difficulty moving. Can you use your awareness to release into that area? After your next inhale, exhale to settle to more of a neutral spine. So we're not sealing low back to the mat. You can let your arms rest out at your sides. They could even move, your arms could move towards this T shape, back of your palms on the mat earth. And heel toes your feet out wide if you brought your feet closer together. So your toes can point out. Now your knees can also move towards over your ankles. So we're separating the knees apart. So we just found a movement with our breath, tilting the pelvis forward and back. And now we'll start to move side to side. With your next inhale, start to send your knees over towards the right and reach your knees away from you. And with your exhale, move your knees up through center. Maybe your low back hugs the mat. And an inhale, knees drop over towards your left. Let them reach away from you. Exhale to center. Continue to move like this, pretty slow. Starting the movement with your breath from your torso. Beautiful. Can you let the back of your head rest heavy? The shoulder blades can also rest a bit heavier on the earth. And for the last 2 rounds of breath, if you'd like, you could interlace your hands overhead, grabbing opposite elbow or opposite forearm. Just getting a stretch through your upper torso as well. We'll bring the knees to center once you're even. And we'll roll through one side, either side, and press yourself up to a seat. So we're just going to stay with our feet out in front of us to start. And your hands can rest behind you. And we're going to stretch the bicep, the front of our upper arm. So keep your hips grounded here. We'll start to walk the hands back, fingertips pointed back behind you, and lift your heart space. Maybe your gaze gently lifts as well, and keep grounding through your fingertips. Yeah. So if it's too much, you can walk your hands closer into your sit bones. Or if you want a little bit more, you can scoot hands farther back. Notice your breath here. Yeah. Can you keep your hips soft? Okay, we'll start to walk the hands in. And we're going to move to a comfortable seat. It could mean your legs are out in front of you, or you could sit cross-legged or on your shins. Any option. Just make yourself comfortable. Make sure your strap is nearby. So once you're seated, this is our first time completely seated in an upright position. So the top of your head can lift high and keep your sit bones settling down. Soften your shoulders away from your ears. And we'll use the strap in just a moment, but not quite yet. We're going to bring the right palm to face up. Keep your right elbow glued to your side. So it's like we're serving a platter here. We'll sweep the left arm back and grab onto the front of your right arm. Yeah. And notice what happened here. Your ribs probably flared up to compensate for any sort of tightness in your shoulder. Can you allow your front ribs to settle down? Okay, once you're here, keep reaching your right elbow and shoulder down towards the mat, but also reach your right fingertips forward as you're holding onto that arm. So your left elbow also reaches down, left shoulder down. Okay, let's bring right ear towards right shoulder and start to let your chin fall into your chest. Rock your head forward and back here. Stretching through the left side. Notice if rocking your head forward gets a better stretch or backward, you can always pause. And to keep your stretch through your neck, keep your shoulders over your hips here. So we're not rocking our spine or the spine below our shoulders. We're moving through our neck. Pause wherever you feel the best stretch and notice how your breath is traveling in through your nose, all the way down your throat, through your lungs. Maybe your low belly gets a bit of expansion here as well. Okay, gently release that. Bring arms down to rest on your thighs. Find a long spine. Once again, shoulders fall away from your ears and just notice the length in the sides of your neck. Okay, we'll move to the other side so you can flip that palm up and sweep your other arm around. And we're creating a tension between the arms here. So fingers reach forward of your left hand, both elbows reach down. Right shoulder blade really reaches down here. Let your left ear fall to your left shoulder. This side might be a little bit different. Just notice that and rock your head a little bit forward and back. Yeah. Keep your ribs settling down. If you want, you can pause without keeping that movement going at a space where you feel like you need a little bit more of a stretch. Can you find a little bit more ease in that space between your ear and your shoulder? You could even add a little smile here this morning. And we'll gently release back to center, super long spine. And now we'll grab onto our strap. I like to just fold it over once so it's not too long. And we'll just drape it over our left shoulder. I have my mic there, so hopefully it doesn't mess up the mic. Yeah. And now we'll do a similar movement with our left arm, but we're going to turn the left fingertips down towards the earth. This movement's coming from your upper arm. So make sure you're internally rotating your arm. Sweep your arm back behind you and grab onto your strap. You can also grab on with your upper arm as well. So we're grabbing onto the strap from both places. Do I have you guys going the wrong way? Okay, yeah. So right shoulder. That means yeah, left arm out. Thank you. Yeah. And then you go back because then you'll be able to find the strap and you can keep holding the top of the strap with your right arm. Thank you, Allison. I always have someone to count on. So if you're confused, you can look at me. I'll stop mirroring just to have it. This arm reaches back and up the strap. So we're not focusing yet on getting our arms or hands too close to each other. Focus more on what's happening in your neck. So you want both sides long, the top of your head reaching up, and your front rib cage settling down. Yeah, and once you have that, then you can create this tension in your strap. Elbows reach away from one another. And maybe your hands crawl closer together as you hold. These are cow face arms, Gomukhasana. So these are supposed to be Gomukhasana, cow face. Yeah. So these are the ears of a cow. I have to say it because I get so confused. If you're doing the legs too, your legs are like completely crossed and it's the mouth of a cow. But these are the ears of a cow. Every time I do it, I'm like, I guess this makes sense. I don't, I don't see it, but okay, now we'll release. And then we'll move to the other side. So if you want a moment, you can always roll out your shoulders and then move it to the other side. And you can think of a cute little cow face. I don't know. And yeah, so we'll see, this is where I'm turn that arm down and reach around for that strap. Hands walk down and elbows reach away from one another. Yeah. So the bottom arm has reached up your back towards the strap, and that top arm is reaching down your back. Can you reach your head towards that forearm, towards your back top arm? And maybe you find a little bit more ease in your shoulders. Okay, we'll hold for 2 more rounds of breath. And then you can gently release. Pretty big stretch for our shoulders. So just let it go. Maybe you move your arms up and down. Eventually, we'll make our way into a tabletop shape. If you need, you can always place that blanket underneath your knees, shins, feet. Really plant your fingertips into the mat. Yeah. With your next exhale, round your spine, let your shoulder blades part away from one another and pause. Send your breath into that space between your shoulder blades with your inhale, and with your exhale, feel your low belly pull in and up. With your next inhale, start to pull the shoulder blades together, lift your gaze, lift your sit bones, and pause here. So this is cow. We just did cow face. I don't know. I guess the theme is cow. I don't know. And now you can start to move with your breath. Exhale, round. Inhale, find the hug of your shoulder blades. Just like we did on our backs, can you imagine your breath starting the movement at the top of your spine with your inhale? And with your exhale, starting from your low belly, lifting along your torso. After your next inhale, exhale to a neutral spine. So somewhere between those 2 points, tuck your toes and lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Beautiful, everyone. Let's all bend our knees just a little bit here so that we can really reach the sit bones high. Yeah. And then from there, maybe you start to drop your heels closer to the mat, lengthening your legs. You could bend one knee and then the next. And one more thing here, can you imagine a little bit more space in your upper back? So can you broaden your shoulder blades? Maybe rock your head side to side to release tension in your neck. Maybe rock it forward and back. And let's slowly walk our feet to the top of our mat. Keep your knees bent here. And let your chin fall to your chest. If This is a lot for your back this morning. You can bring forearms to thighs as we're rounding here. Yeah, if not, you can let your arms release towards the mat. We'll hold for just a few breaths, 2 more rounds. Same thing, you could rock your head side to side here. Maybe rock your entire spine side to side. Wherever you are, with our next inhale, we'll halfway lift the spine. Bring your palms to thighs or shins. Keep your knees a little bent here and reach your sit bones back. And imagine the top of your head getting longer, or your spine getting longer, top of your head reaching forward. Maybe a little more space between your ribs and your hips. Next, exhale, release that. And an inhale, plant through your feet. We'll stand tall, hands sweep high. And an exhale, release hands down. Awesome. Let's gaze down. Make sure your feet are about hips distance apart. Let's all lift our toes up. I have my socks on, but lift your toes off of the mat. Spread them super, super wide here. And then plant them down one at a time. Ground down through your toe mounds. Let's inhale and lift tall. Exhale, hinge from your hips. We'll fold down, keeping that grounding through our feet. Inhale, halfway lift. Long spine, exhale, round. Inhale, sweep it tall. Find space between your hips and your ribs. And an exhale, hands down. 2 more times. So an inhale, sweep it up. And an exhale, hinge forward. Release it down. Inhale, lengthen. And an exhale, release. Inhale, let's lift. Top of the head reaches high. And an exhale, let your shoulders fall away from your ears. Inhale, lift it up. And an exhale, hinge forward all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift. And an exhale, release. Inhale, let's stand. Feel your feet grounding as you lift. And an exhale down. Awesome. And let's just rock it side to side for a moment. Yeah. Noticing if there's anywhere you can release any little bit of tension. Okay, we'll slowly meet in center. Big inhale, reach it high. And an exhale, we'll hinge forward. This time, make sure your blocks are nearby. We're going to frame our feet. And I'm going to use a blanket behind me. You can add it whenever you get there, but we'll start by stepping left foot back and bring that knee down into a narrow stance. So we have 90-degree bends in both of our legs. Yeah. And you can bring your blocks closer. Once you're steady, we'll lift up. Great. So if at any point you feel like you're not steady, you can widen your front leg out. The wider your stance is, the more that can help with stability. Bring your right hand to your rib cage just to observe. You may naturally lift here. Can you keep that grounding in, moving towards heart center? And now we'll start to reach. We're going to do the shoulder cars like we did. I don't know if we did them last week, but I've been loving them recently. So we're going to start to keep the rib cage where it's at. Start to reach your hand forward and really make it dramatic. So you're really reaching your shoulder away from your spine and reach your hand up. Big circle here. Rotate so your pinky is leading as you move your arm back. Notice if your rib cage is moving with your arm. We're trying to keep it a separate movement. Yeah. And then once you're down, we'll move opposite direction, lifting up. rotating so that the thumb points back at the top and moving down. And we'll do the same thing. We'll change directions just one more time, lifting up. Yeah. If it's a lot to keep your arm in, you can move your arm out a bit wider to create more space. Okay. Now we'll lift up and pause at this upper, where your fingers are reaching up. And now we will allow the rib cage to pull in even more. Your shoulder blades can part, and we'll start to reach our hand forward and over towards our right. So you can reach it all the way over. That block might be handy for your right hand, or you can keep forearm on your thigh. Keep your hips reaching back and away from your arm as your arm reaches forward and over. Yeah. So it's kind of like a side stretch, maybe a gentle feeling in your psoas. Really rounding the spine. Okay, beautiful. We'll release that. You can bring both hands down, lift your back knee off the mat, and we'll just switch sides. So you can step that foot in, step your other foot back, and lift up. So we'll bring left hand now to your rib cage. And now we'll do that movement, creating movement in our shoulders here. So, or the right shoulder, reach it forward, up, overhead. Pinky leads as you reach back. That's where it's hard for the ribs to stay anchored. Then up and over. I know twisting is a good one to practice for reaching for things in the back seat of your car, but this one also can help you if you ever have something in your back seat that you're reaching for. I've definitely been there, I think this week. And once you are even, so you can take your time getting there, but once you're even, you can reach fingers high. And now round your spine. So we're creating this cat-like shape where the shoulders part, and then reach forward and over with your arm. Anchor your hips down and back, and exaggerate that side bend. Yeah. And you can play around with where your fingers are at in space. Maybe you move them a little bit more forward to one side or the other. So not only stretching through our shoulder, but hopefully getting a little bit into our side body, our hips. And then we'll release both hands down. This time, step the other knee back. Your blocks can move off to the side, and we'll move into a downward facing dog. Pedal it out here. Okay, we're going to move into a lunge from here. So if you want to move from tabletop, you can take that option, or you can move from downward facing dog. We'll inhale, lift the right leg high, and then exhale, pull your knee forward towards your nose and step your foot between your hands. Awesome. From here, we're gonna move to a warrior one. So our hips are gonna stay squared. Spiral your back heel down and lift it up almost like a high lunge. So you want your hips both facing forward. If you are turning out to the side, try to widen your front foot out. That can help bring the hips to face forward. Yeah. Yeah, so we're not on a tightrope here, we're on train tracks. Beautiful. Both hands can reach high if you'd like. Ooh, I wanted us to have our strap here, but that's okay. We'll go hands to hips. And I'll give a few options in case you can't find that bind in your hand. So let's interlace our hands behind our low back. Yeah, if your strap's in your bag, you can go ahead and grab it if you know you want it. Reach your knuckles down and back. Hug your shoulders together, lift your heart space. Okay, this is where it's really helpful to have a strap. You'll start to hinge from your hips. Keep your outer hip hugging in, your right hip hugging in, and reach your knuckles high, maybe overhead. If that's difficult and you don't have your strap, you can always release hands down to the mat as you're hinging forward, finding more of a rounded spine. Yeah. We'll hold for 2 or 3 rounds of breath, really reaching that right outer hip back in space. If your arms are reaching overhead, knuckles reach high. Act like you're pulling your hands apart, but the inner palm is reaching together. Yeah. Wherever you are, we'll release hands and step it back, downward facing dog. Okay, lower your knees down to the mat. Send the hips back for a brief child's pose. If it feels nice, you can always start to reach hands back towards the back of your mat, finding a rounded shape in your upper back. So we've been stretching a lot of that area around where our breath travels to hopefully find a little bit more of an easeful breath. Let's tuck our toes underneath. Plant the palms out in front of you and lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Now, if you know you like to move from tabletop, you can take that option. We'll inhale, lift the left leg high, and exhale, sweep it in between your hands. Spiral your back heel down, but only so that the toes pointed to the top edge of your mat. Maybe you widen your stance before you lift high here, and then we'll lift. Oh, and I still forgot a strap. So it's kind of fun to do it without the strap. And yeah. So your hands can move to your hips. Notice what's happening here. You can always widen your stance for some stability or to keep the hips square. Yeah. Interlace your hands the weird way this time. So whatever way feels a bit weirder. Hug your hands together and pull your upper arms back and together. Let your heart space lift. Maybe your gaze gently lifts. That's a little bit of a balance challenge. Keep your hips steady. We'll start to hinge from our hips. Lift your knuckles high. Maybe you have your strap and you widen your hands out if you need. You can stay here or lower hands down towards the mat, inside of your front foot, and allow more of a rounding feeling, getting in the outer front hip. Yeah, imagine someone's pulling your front hip back and in towards your midline. Oh yeah, perfect. Still anchoring through front foot and back foot. Okay, we'll gently release the bind. You can plant your hands down, step it back, downward facing dog for a moment. Find a long spine. Beautiful. Lower your knees down to the mat. Tops of your toes can touch the mat, and we'll sit it back. For this child's pose, if you'd like to grab onto your blocks and place them out in front of you, it might feel nice to bring elbows to the blocks, palms together, and reach palms towards the base of your neck. Yeah. So you can reach your elbows long. The closer your elbows move together, the more this stretch may travel down your side body to your traps or lats, either one. Okay, we'll press through our elbows and start to lift. You can move the blocks off to the side. We're going to do one more seated shoulder stretch before we move away from the shoulders and upper body. So let's bring the strap with us just so you can reach it in any comfortable seat again, just wherever you want. You may not use the strap, but let your eyes just flutter shut. We won't do cow face arms this time. We're going to do eagle arms. So just another animal you can imagine where it's like origami, but with our bodies. So let's reach arms out wide. And imagine your arms getting longer. So fingers really reaching wide. Okay, then let's cross right arm over left. You can start by giving yourself a little hug if you'd like, letting the elbows move on top of one another. Then maybe you start to bring the forearms together. And this is where if you have a strap handy and you can't find that bind of your palms together, it can be super helpful to grab onto a strap with that top arm and then find the strap with your bottom arm. Yeah. Imagine your elbows reaching away from you, away from your heart center. And maybe you create little small circles with your elbows as well to get into different areas of your shoulder. You can go one way and then the other. And gently release arms down. Send your breath into that back area of your spine. Okay, now final shoulder stretch. If you know you want the strap, you could go ahead and grab it. We'll reach the arms out wide. This time, left arm moves on top of the right. Give yourself a big hug, maybe a little smile here. And then backs of your forearms reach towards one another and grab onto that strap. Or maybe your palms reach together. Elbows reach away from you and up. Maybe you start to make little circles with your elbows, just really small here. Keep your neck long. Two more breaths. Then we'll release slowly. Strap off to the side. And we'll recline back onto our backs now. So make sure your strap and blocks are just nearby. Keep your feet planted on the mat to start. And once you settle down, let's get our spines to be just a little bit longer. So move your right shoulder up and towards the back of your mat, and then your left. Then you can use your hands to lift your head and pull just gently your head towards the back of your mat as well, and lowering it down. Super long spine here, but supported. Okay, we're gonna try to keep this feeling of a soft, settled torso on the mat, but we'll grab onto our strap and interlace your strap around the toe mound of your right foot. Start to lengthen your leg high. Notice what happened through your torso here. If you feel like it created a lift in your lower back, maybe you start to allow your foot to move a little bit farther away from your torso. So closer to the mat. Can you allow your arms to stay pretty heavy here? If you feel like you can keep that feeling of a soft, easeful spine and pull your leg a little bit closer, you can feel free to take that option. Maybe even lengthening your left leg out long. You will have to keep some energy in that leg, anchoring left thigh down, left heel down. Okay, we'll bring both sides of the strap into our right hand and start to open the leg out towards the side. Okay, and notice what happened here. For a lot of us, that left side of our pelvis will lift up. Bring your leg in towards center until you can ground your left side down. So we're not twisting in our pelvis here. We're trying to stretch through the inner side of our leg. Maybe your toes angle out a little bit. I'm sorry if the wall's in your way. I hope that's a nice support. Okay, then we'll slowly start to bring the leg up through center and just a few inches over towards your opposite shoulder. So towards your left. Stay anchored through both sides. Notice if you can find any settling through your leg. Okay, we'll slowly bring the leg up through center. Release the strap and lengthen your leg out long. Both legs are out long now. Okay, you can bring both feet planted on the mat for the same transition. This time interlacing strap around your left leg, reaching the leg high. And this side might be different from the other, or it most likely is. Maybe it's subtle, maybe it's not. But the angle of your foot, your leg to your torso, the closer your leg is in towards your torso, the more intense of a stretch this might be. So if you feel like your back is rounding and you can't keep that neutral spine, you can lengthen your leg away from your torso just a little bit. Yeah. And then lengthen your left leg or right leg out long, really grounding down. Yeah, beautiful, everyone. I feel like this is like flamingo pose or something if it had an animal name. Okay, now we'll slowly start to open that leg out towards the side. So just a little bit towards your right, anchoring down through both hips. Notice if the space between your ears and your shoulders has picked up any tension here. Can you let that go with your next exhale? Let's slowly bring the leg up through center and only a few inches over towards the right. Just getting in the outer leg for now. So you're imagining your left hip dropping down towards the mat, even as you're lengthening your left foot away from that hip. Yeah, your heel's really leading that reach towards the sky. One more round of breath. And we'll slowly move to center. Release your leg out long. Just observing how this feels. And we're going to move into a little twist next. We'll start off on our sides for all of us. So let's start on our right side. You'll want to bring your blanket either how it was out of the stack or folded one more time. Your blanket can be underneath your head. And then bring one or both blocks between your legs. So you can bring one. I like to bring one under between my thighs and one sometimes between my shins, but sometimes it's nice just to have the one between your knees as well. So just play around with what's comfortable here. Both arms will be out in front of you in line with your chest. And peek down. You do want both hips stacked here. So you're not leaning in your pelvis. You have both hips on top of one another. And your knees are at that 90-degree bend. Yeah. Head is supported. And from here, we're going to start to open up into our twist. Your top arm can start to reach up towards the sky. Maybe your gaze follows the arm. And we'll let that palm settle back down onto the mat. Exhale, let's close again. So bring that palm back to where it started. Inhale, let's open. And then exhale, close. This time as you bring that palm down, reach it even farther away from you so it can be farther than your bottom hand. Yeah, and then we'll open up. This time opening and pausing wherever you are. So that arm might not reach the earth. It could be nice to rest your hand, that hand that's reaching back, on your rib cage so that your elbow can reach down to the mat. Gaze could be lifted. So, yeah. And then another nice adjustment here might be to bring your front arm to the top of your hip and press your top hip crease away from you. So your left arm is still on your rib cage, but your right hand could press your hip away. Yeah. Notice where your breath is traveling here. And let's slowly start to move our arm back to where it started. Okay. However you want to do it, we're going to rotate to the other side. So you can just roll over, get yourself organized. Yeah, and once you're there, let's move with our breath. So with your inhale, start to reach your top arm up and over, kind of like a rainbow. Yeah. So we're twisting the spine. And with your exhale, closing, reaching that palm even farther away from your bottom palm. Yeah. Inhale, open. Maybe imagine leading with your shoulder blade to help this stay in your spine. Sorry that the wall is in the way there again. Yeah, and sometimes it's nice to follow this movement with your gaze. And next time you open up, pause. If your arm doesn't quite meet the earth, you can rest your hand on your rib cage so that your elbow rests down. It can be pretty nice and supportive. You could always bring your other block beneath your arm at any point too. Yeah, so For you, Joe, you might feel nice bringing this arm on your rib cage, since you don't have space for your arm. Yeah. Beautiful. And once you've paused in this twist, you could also use your left hand to press your hip away from you, the hip crease, top hip crease. Okay, we'll slowly start to move out of this. So just rolling to your side first. You can move the block off to your side and just roll onto your back. And we're going to do just about 2 minutes of, or maybe 3, of a breathing practice. If you like to do it reclined, you can do it reclined. We're going to do 4-part breath or box breathing. Or if you know you like to be seated upright, you can also sit in any comfortable position. It's really up to you. So wherever you are, just make sure you're comfortable. We want the focus to be on our breath for the next few minutes. We stretch to the whole area around our lungs, our heart space, both front and back body. And now hopefully you can feel the difference when we start to add in these longer breaths. Let's all start with a nice exhale, letting all of the air go. And with your next inhale, seal your lips, and I'll count to 4 for your inhale. So 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you hold for a 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 3, 2, 1. Pause, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, or pause, 3, 2, 1. So you can continue with that. If for any reason this is adding tension in your body, you can always pause the count and just breathe naturally. Or if you'd like, you can also change the count to 3, maybe in the other direction. And one thing to note while you're practicing this 4-part breath, you're practicing a control of your breath. So if you start your inhale super intense, it'll be harder once you get to that count of 1 at the end. Can you control both your inhales and exhales to be softer, so that at the end of your count, you're still feeling the breath move? Okay, 20 more seconds of this. Okay, find your natural breath as you feel ready. Wherever you are, we will have about another minute or 2 to do any final pose that you may want before final rest. So you could add in If you're reclined, happy baby, or if you're making your way to reclined. If you're seated, it might feel nice to even do like a forward fold of some sort. Whatever feels nice for you. Some side stretches might feel nice. So if you're reclined, you could add in like a banana stretch. Anything that feels nice. If you're doing a two-sided pose, I'll let you know when to switch sides. Okay, switch sides if you're doing a two-sided pose. And as you're ready, just make your way to your final rest. If you're by a wall, it might feel nice to do legs up the wall. If you like, you could use your strap around your thighs so that they rest about hips distance apart without any effort. Since you have the strap nearby, I like to do that in my final rest. Oh. Yeah, wherever you are, make yourself as comfortable as you can. And if you need any more props, just wave a hand. I'll bring you one. Yeah, I like the eye mask. Nice. The strap can also be nice to rest over your eyes if you're feeling like you want to take away any light coming in right now. Let yourself feel super heavy as you rest. But maybe also find a balance of a sense of lightness, a heaviness through the places supported. But maybe the lightness comes from your natural breath as you let go any effort. And we'll be here for the next few moments in silence. Slowly start to add some movement back in. Maybe a gentle smile. Imagine smiling with your eyes as well. You could add in a full body stretch. eventually rolling through to either side. Thank you all so much for being here this morning. I appreciate each and every one of you for showing up to your mat, to your practice. Namaste.